In each of us there is another whom we do not know, Jung once said, and I want you to feel the weight of that right now. Picture the first time you reached for something, drink, smoke, screen, or food, not because you wanted it, but because you needed to quiet something inside. Maybe you were young, maybe you were alone. Maybe you learned early that pain is easier to hide than to heal. Studies show most addictions begin before adulthood, often rooted in moments we barely remember but never truly escape. Jung called this the wounded inner child, the part of you that learned to cope, not to conquer. Think of the afternoons you came home to silence, or the times you felt invisible in a crowded room. Addiction doesn't start with weakness. It starts with a need for relief when nobody else noticed your struggle. Surveys reveal that almost half of those who battle addiction report feeling isolated long before the habit began. You didn't wake up one day and choose this fight. It crept in disguised as comfort, as a friend who never judged. The longing for relief is universal, but the first taste of escape is a trap, one that whispers, "Just this once." What no one tells you is that every escape leaves a debt. The world teaches you to numb, not to heal, and so you build quiet routines around your pain. You become skilled at hiding, at pretending, at surviving. But the truth is, every time you reach for that escape, you are answering an old wound, not a new desire. Jung's wisdom is not mystical, it's a mirror. Your addiction is not your enemy, but your signal. It's proof that something inside you needs attention, not condemnation. The first step isn't to fight the addiction, but to see the wound it's covering. That's where your real power begins. You wear a mask every day and you're not alone. Most people do. You tell yourself you're fine, that you're in control, that you can stop whenever you want, but deep down you feel the cracks. Denial isn't ignorance, it's protection, a shield against shame, fear of judgment, and the pain of admitting you need help. You might say, "I only drink on weekends," or "I'm not like those people," but these are just stories you tell to keep your world from falling apart. Society makes it harder. Addiction is whispered about, never discussed openly, and the stigma is real. People lose jobs, families, and respect, not just from the substance, but from the silence and the lies. Jung called the hidden part of you the shadow, the side you'd rather not see, the feelings you repress, the anger or sadness you pretend isn't there. The more you hide it, the more it drives you. Rationalization is the mind's trick. "I'm stressed, I deserve this," or "it helps me cope." These are not just excuses, they are survival tactics when facing pain that feels too big to handle. But each time you justify, the dependency grows. Addiction is not a switch. It's a slow build. One drink, one pill, one bed at a time, until you need more just to feel normal. The cost is high. Trust erodes, relationships break, your health suffers, and your self-worth shrinks until you barely recognize yourself. You might find yourself lying to people you love, hiding receipts, making promises you can't keep. The truth is, the more you deny and rationalize, the deeper the trap becomes. Jung warned that what you refuse to face will rule you from the shadows. But when you look in the mirror and see the mask, you have a choice. Keep hiding, or start facing the truth. The first step is honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. That's where real power begins. The trap of addiction tightens with each turn of the cycle. You feel a trigger, you crave relief, you use, you regret, and then you crave again, a loop that becomes more automatic with each repetition. Your brain isn't broken, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain through the flood of dopamine that substances release, more powerful than any natural reward. This isn't just habit, it's your brain physically rewiring itself, creating neural pathways that demand satisfaction with increasing urgency while simultaneously building tolerance that requires more of the substance just to feel normal. The illusion of control is the most dangerous part. You tell yourself, just this once, or I can stop whenever I want. But most people relapse within a year of treatment, regardless of the substance. You're not weak. You're caught in a biological trap that Jung recognized long before modern neuroscience confirmed it. The shame that follows each relapse isn't just an emotion. It's a spiral that drives you further into isolation, creating a perfect breeding ground for the next cycle of use. You hide your pain behind masks of denial and rationalization, telling yourself stories that protect you from facing the truth. But these very stories keep you trapped. Jung called this the shadow, the parts of yourself you've rejected or denied. And he understood that what you refuse to face will rule you from the darkness. The shadow isn't mystical, it's practical. It's the uncomfortable truth that your addiction isn't the problem but a symptom of deeper wounds seeking relief. Here's rock bottom, not the dramatic crash you've seen in movies, but the moment when your defense mechanisms fail and you see yourself clearly for the first time. Research shows rock bottom isn't about losing everything. It's about reaching the point where denial stops working. Studies reveal that people relapse within a year, proving that hitting bottom doesn't guarantee recovery, but it does create the conditions for awakening. The truth is, rock bottom is different for everyone. Some people need to lose their job, others just need to look in the mirror and feel disgust. What researchers have discovered is that rock bottom is actually a spiritual crisis disguised as a substance problem. Jung knew this when he told his patient that only a genuine conversion could save him. The moment of truth isn't when you lose control. It's when you realize you never had it in the first place. This is where courage enters. Not the Hollywood version, but the quiet decision to face what you've been running from. Jung called this facing the shadow, and it's the most practical advice he ever gave. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. The first actionable step is brutal in its simplicity. Stop justifying. Stop telling yourself stories about why you need it, why you deserve it, why this time is different. Every justification is a wall between you and freedom, and you built that wall one excuse at a time. The power of conscious choice begins the moment you stop explaining and start choosing. Self-affirmation isn't feel-good nonsense. It's neuroplasticity in action. Your brain literally rewires itself when you consistently choose new thoughts over old patterns. Integration isn't some mystical journey. It's the practical work of reclaiming the parts of yourself you've buried, the shadow Jung described as everything we can't see in ourselves. When you face your addiction, you're not just fighting a substance. You're confronting the wounded child within who first reached for escape when nobody noticed your struggle. This integration begins with a simple attitude: accepting that your shadow exists, learning its qualities, and entering negotiations with it, not as an enemy, but as a neglected part of yourself crying out for attention. The shadow holds not just your darkness, but your forgotten talents and imprisoned energy, the very strength you need to recover. Mindfulness becomes your most powerful tool here, teaching you to observe cravings without acting on them, to sit with discomfort until it passes rather than reaching for relief. Studies show mindfulness-based treatments significantly reduce relapse risk by helping you recognize triggers and break automatic destructive behaviors. This isn't spiritual nonsense, but neuroplasticity in action, literally rewiring your brain with each conscious choice. The second actionable step is to start affirming your worth, not as empty positive thinking, but as strategic neural reprogramming that activates specific brain regions involved in motivation and reward. These affirmations must be personalized and emotionally resonant to establish new neural pathways, making positive thoughts more automatic and accessible over time. Your third actionable step is choosing peace over chaos, a difficult shift for those addicted to drama and instability, who feel uneasy in calm environments because chaos has become their normal. This addiction to disorder often stems from childhood environments where unpredictability was the only constant, teaching you to equate love with turmoil and making peace feel foreign and frightening. The obstacles you'll face are real. Most people relapse within a year of treatment, not because they're weak, but because they're caught in biological and psychological traps that require more than willpower to escape. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism, Jung warned. But what he understood, and what you must grasp now, is that your recovery isn't about fighting addiction, but about becoming whole. The new self emerges not through perfection, but through radical acceptance of your entire being, including the shadow parts you've tried to escape. Your addiction was never your identity. It was a symptom of disconnection, a signal that something deeper needed attention. Studies show that people who struggle with addiction eventually recover, not by becoming different people, but by reclaiming the authentic self that addiction buried. The ongoing journey isn't linear. Many people relapse within a year of treatment, but this isn't failure. It's part of the process of learning to respond differently to the same triggers that once controlled you.